And we're live. Today, we're going to be going to Cape Point. Welcome to those who've just joined. So we're going to be taking a long drive into probably one of the most beautiful places in Cape Town. Cape Town has a lot of amazing places to visit. And here we've just entered the Cape Point Nature Reserve. Now, before we begin, I just want to check with you. Can you hear me clearly? Just give me a little thumbs up. Annette, hey. So, yeah, we can only go 40 kilometers an hour here. Yeah, so this is a place I've been wanting to share for a long time. In fact, before Hago closed down, I wanted to bring you here. But the problem is there's just not very good signal quality. And so, thanks Cindy. The best way to show you was to record and show you today. So I visited Cape Point in July, August this year, and this is what we're gonna see. Great. I'm just gonna wait another 30 seconds and then we'll begin. So when you enter the national park, this Cape Point is really massive, so you're going to be driving through it like this. In fact, it's about a 15-minute drive to there's so much to see, and I'll be talking about all the things you can see, but there's a lot to see when you come to Cape Point. But the way I like to think about it, yes, and Annette says your parents must have been thrilled to have you. They were. In fact, my dad is driving here, the car here. And I'm sitting in front, so we have a front row seat into Cape Point. Okay, I think we're ready to start. Welcome, everyone. My name is Matthew. I'm from South Africa, from Cape Town, South Africa. And today I'm going to be taking you to one of my favorite places to visit, which is called Cape Point Nature Reserve. And I've been wanting to share this for a long time, so I'm excited to take you here. But let's talk about it, a little bit more about it. About 60 kilometers drive from Cape Town CBD lies Cape Point, within the southernmost tip of Table Mountain National Park. It forms part of the Cape Floral region, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is one of the richest areas for flora in the world. So we're gonna just pause this video very quickly because I want to show you where we are and where we're going. So here's a little picture. So Cape Town is a peninsula. So a peninsula, for those who don't know, it's a landmass that is surrounded by water on three sides. And we're going to, so it's almost like, it feels like an island, especially when you're on Cape Point. So we are going to be going to this, you can see the picture on your right hand side. We're going to be visiting that point, and there are two lighthouses on that point. We're going to be visiting both. Then if you look on the map, that this green area at the bottom is the Cape Point Nature Reserve, and that's what we're driving through right now. And our aim is to get to the point of Cape Point. So let's continue our drive. So Cape Point is a mountainous and scenic nature reserve that runs northwest for about 30 kilometers at the extreme southwestern tip of the African continent in South Africa. And Table Mountain and the city of Cape Town are close to the northern extremity of the same peninsula. Now, Cape Point, Table Mountain, these are the top two places to come when you come to South Africa. And what I've always thought about, to me, Cape Point is like what Cape Town looked like before people. So if you don't look at the roads, you just look out at the landscape, that for me is what I imagine Cape Town would have looked like before people arrived. Now, as we drive through, I'm going to talk about there's a lot of activities you can do. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be climbing up to 2 lighthouses. So we're going to take this 15-minute drive, and then we're going to do a hike. So let's talk about all the other things you can do besides that. So, rich in cultural and national heritage, this is one of the top tourist destinations in South Africa due to the variety of wildlife that occurs here. And it's the only section, so a large part of Cape Town, the mountainous area, is part of something called Table Mountain National Park. But this area is the only part that is fenced. Cape Point is the only nature reserve that is fenced. And one of the things you can do when you come to Cape Point is look out for all the wildlife. We've got eland, red hartebeest, bontebok, and even something called the Cape Mountain zebra. Yes, my dad's driving. I just want to show you some of those animals that you can see. So, ostriches, some eland, and bontebok. This one's a bontebok. And what you're going to see a lot of, especially with the people, baboons. So those are just some of the animals that you can see in Cape Point. Now, if you want to see the baboons, just go to where the people are. But if you want to see the ostriches, the gemsbok, the hartebeest, there are lots of little turn-offs. So just turn off. You can turn off and go look for animals, if that's what you want to come to see. While we're driving, on our left-hand side is going to be the Buffelsfontein Visitor Center that showcases all of the plants and animals to look out for in the park. Now, it really is impossible to fit everything that Cape Point has to offer into one visit. So I'm just going to give you like a list of all the things you can do. So one of them is just we're doing it right now, taking some of the most breathtaking ocean and mountain scenery, discover the cultural and historical spots, and I'll talk a little bit about those a bit later, including monuments to explorers such as Vasco da Gama and Bartholomew Diaz. I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the history. They're great swimming spots, picnic sites, and walks. Especially a place called Buffels Bay Tidal Pools. It's actually right next to the museum, the Buffels Fontaine Visitor Center. It's going to be on our left-hand side. We'll see it now. There's more than 1,100 indigenous plant species that grow nowhere else in the world here. Around June to October, you can watch massive whales moving past Cape Point on their annual migration. There's also here we are, we're coming up. So on our left-hand side is the Buffels Fontaine. There you can see the sign. Visitor Center, there it is, that white building over there. And then if we were to turn down this road, you can go down to the Buffels Beach. Interesting thing about Buffels Beach because my friend said, "Oh, you must go snorkeling there." So it's a beautiful, beautiful beach. I think I'm going to check if I have a picture of it. Okay, no, I don't. So I went snorkeling there, and they've got like a beautiful little beach, and on the side, there's like the water just drops down very suddenly, and that's where a lot of little sharks live. So I was but they're not sharks that will attack you. They're quite small. I think they're nurse sharks or something. And so I went swimming, and all of a sudden there was this little shark so close to me, and I got freaked out, and the shark got freaked out as well. So we both, like, I ran out the water and it swam like the opposite direction. And so it's just a really cool place to be. But if you want to know where the sharks hide out, next to the beach there's like I don't know how to describe. Basically, there's the beach where, you know, the water just goes slowly down, and then on the side there's like a part where there's you look out over the rocks, and the water just goes straight down. That's where the sharks like to hide. Yeah, so there's about 250 bird species occurring here, including some that are endemic to the area. Some of the other things you can do are walk around the shipwreck trail to view a few of the 26 recorded shipwrecks around Cape Point. Now, Cape Town, another name for Cape Town is the Cape of Good Hope, or the Cape of Storms. And the reason why it is called that is we had so many storms, and there wasn't protection, and we had a lot of shipwrecks in the past. And so some of those shipwrecks you can find here at Cape Point. You can also hike along a wide variety of scenic and overnight trails through natural fynbos and along the sandy beaches. You can take part in like sea kayaking or mountain biking. In fact, this mountain up ahead, the Cape Mountain Club, has some huts or some buildings that you can stay over on at Cape Point on that mountain. They will have a little bit closer look at them as we drive along. Now, there's a speed limit. I think at different points it's usually about 60 k's an hour, because of course there's animals here in the nature reserve, so they don't want you driving too fast around the point, around Cape Point. So you can hike along a wide variety of scenic and overnight trails through natural fynbos and along the sandy beaches, and you can explore the sunning dive sites that lie waiting to be explored on both sides of the point. And the area we're going today, we're going to do a hike, which probably the thing most people come to Cape Point to do is to do this little hike. Now, if you don't want to do the hike, there's a little vernacular called let me show you. It's called the Flying Dutchman. Here it is. Now, when I went in August, the Flying Dutchman wasn't, they were doing maintenance, so they were just using a car to take people up. So if you don't feel like walking, you can just take the Flying Dutchman. I think it's like $5.5 US, and you can just go up and down and save the trip, have a nice easy trip. And it's just a great way to get up to the Lighthouse. Now, we'll see this. Okay, you can the mountain club buildings on the left-hand side there on the mountain. But while we waiting to get a little bit of a closer look at that, I want to talk a little bit about the history here. So the Portuguese explorer Bartholomew Dias was searching. So why Cape Town became important was that people from Europe wanted to get to India, but the Suez Canal, there was some issue there, some political problem, and they needed to find an alternate route instead of taking the Suez Canal. And so they found this route that went all the way from like Spain and Portugal and Europe, down Africa, and then up Africa to India. So it was a longer route. But the problem was they needed a place, what they would call a refreshment station, where they could get fresh fruits and vegetables and restock and refuel. And Cape Town just happened to be smack bang in the middle of that. And so Cape Town became a refreshment station. Like if the sailors didn't get the nutrition they needed, they had something, I remember learning about this in school, called scurvy. So scurvy happened when your teeth fall out and where you just generally get unhealthy because you're not eating fresh fruit and vegetables, and you're just eating biscuits all the time. They got this thing called scurvy. It always makes me think, what would happen when we go to space for prolonged periods? What sort of effects would that have on our body? Well, for the sailors, they suffered from scurvy, and that's why having the Cape as a stop-off point where they could get out, get fresh food, restock, was really important. But back to Bartholomew Dias, the Portuguese explorer. He was searching for a passage to India around the African continent, and was the first to round the Cape of Good Hope in 1448. When he found the Cape of Good Hope, he wrote home to the emperor that he had reached the end of the continent and therefore found a way to Asia. He called the spot the Cape of Storms because of the notoriously dangerous coastline. Evidence of numerous shipwrecks litter the Cape coast from west to east, some of which may still be seen here at Cape Point. The Cape of Storms was renamed the Cape of Good Hope to reflect the optimism surrounding the discovery and to attract more merchants to the Cape sea route that passed the southern coast of Africa. So here we are. We're coming to that's the hike we're going to be doing. That little path you're seeing, there's actually the path of the funicular. And then on the right hand side, you can vaguely see a path. That's the hiking path. So and this is where you're going to find a lot of baboons, because there's a restaurant up here and a little cafe and a little curio shop. So that's where you're going to find most of. Here we are. So here we are, we've just parked. Welcome to the Cape of Good Hope. I see Neil was asking, did you ever meet the guy from the Ocean Center, Justin? I haven't met him, but I have chatted to him a couple of times. So we've just parked, and so here you are. You can see all the things. There's a curio shop, funicular, first aid, and over here, always be lookout for baboons, because they usually are around. There's also a beautiful, Cindy says it looks very green for winter. Yeah, it does. There's a beautiful, you can do a beach walk down here. There's a path that goes down where that cliff is. There's some stairs and in the gap, and it's a beautiful beach you can go and swim at. Now let's talk about the opening time. So Cape Point is open, well, due to seasonal changes. The opening times like change throughout the years, but usually, oh, here's a skink. So this is a little lizard enjoying the sun. We'll see a couple more. I've been here at Cape Point when I've seen a little snake. They love the stone because it heats up, gives them the heat their body needs. So typically the Cape of Good Hope, Cape Point Nature Reserve gate opens at sunrise and closes at sunset. My advice for visiting Cape Point is come early. And even though it was a winter's day, Cape Town, we came a little bit later and we got stuck in traffic at the entrance. So my big tip for visiting, come during the week and come early. It'll give you plenty of time to explore as much as you can. There's the sign, baboons are dangerous and attracted to food, so don't be holding food while you're looking around here, or keep it safe. So usually the park opens in the morning various times between like 6:30 to 11:30 a.m. depending on the season, and it closes at usually around between depending on the season, between 5 and 6 o'clock. Now if you want to visit Cape Point, you need a car. There are some tours that come here, so you can see there's some tour buses here. So if you don't have a car, that's okay, come with a tour. Entry for overseas visitors is, for adults, is $23 or $11.50 for children under 12. Cindy's saying it reminds her, it's giving her like the Rock of Gibraltar vibes. We spoke a little bit earlier about the mountain club huts. There's also, the nature reserve also has its own accommodation. There are 3 beautiful self-catering cottages available to hire within the Cape Point Nature Reserve. They are ideal for family holidays, and they're fully equipped with kitchen, lounge, patio, fireplace, and they can accommodate up to 6 people. You can braai outside or barbecue outside. So we're going to be doing the Cape of, so that over there is the Cape of Good Hope walk. That's the one to the beach, but we're going to be doing the Cape Point Lighthouse walk. So here it is. Now at the entrance to the hike, what a lot of people like to do is take a photo of the sign over here. We'll get a nice clear picture of it as we come in. Here it is. Here's our sign. Take a shot of that. Cape Point, South Africa, and it's giving you the longitude and latitude of where we are exactly. So we're going to visit 2 peaks, and on each of these peaks is, oh, this is a nice picture, are the lighthouses. I remember, so it was pretty pleasant when I was here. I mean, I was quite hot, so I was just wearing t-shirt and shorts, but it is uphill, and I went quite quickly up and down, so I got quite hot. So the rugged sandstone, or what is called the Table Mountain sandstone ridge, rises from Cape Point at sea level and develops into 2 peaks. These are the 2 peaks we're going to go see now. There's a major peak that dominates the skyline locally, but there's also a smaller peak. So first we're going to go to the major peak, and then we're going to go to the smaller peak, which is about 100 meters further south. The higher peak has the old lighthouse on the top, and the Flying Dutchman funicular, the Flying Dutchman funicular, if you don't want to walk like we're doing now, you just take that, runs to that lighthouse. And then it's only a few couple of stairs and you're there. And then the new lighthouse is at a lower elevation. And the reason why they have 2 lighthouses is because of the mist. So the big lighthouse could be seen too early by ships rounding Cape Point towards the coast, causing them to approach too closely, and sometimes the foggy conditions just made it too difficult to see. And so we had shipwrecks. So that's why they built the second lighthouse. And also, depending on the angle, it couldn't be seen from the west. Both lighthouses now are equipped with powerful lights that have an intensity of 10 megacandles. And I just want to talk about the experience of walking up here. When you come up here, you're gonna smell the smell of the fynbos. So it's almost like a honey. The way I would describe it is almost like a honey smell, like the smell of honey, but with like a flowery honey, is the way I would describe it. Very like pervasive honey flower smell. That's a sort of now. One thing that's mistakenly believed is that Cape Point is the meeting place for, and it's often mistakenly claimed that Cape Point is the meeting place for the cold Benguela current of the Atlantic Ocean and the warm Gallus current of the Indian Ocean. But people often say, oh, this is where the two oceans meet. And actually, the aquarium in South Africa, in Cape Town, is called the Two Oceans Aquarium. I'm going to show you a quick picture of those. Do I have it here? Yeah. Here's a picture of those two currents. So you see the cold Benguela current in the light blue, and then the Indian Ocean or Gallus current on the other side. Now, it doesn't actually, people say, oh yeah, it meets in the Cape Peninsula. There you can see the Cape Peninsula, but it actually meets in Cape Gallus. So the meeting point fluctuates along the southern and southwestern Cape Coast, usually occurring between Cape Agulhas and Cape Point. So it's not exactly on Cape Point. The two intermingling currents help to create the microclimate of Cape Town and its environs. Contrary to popular mythology, the meeting point of the currents produces no obvious visual effect. You may have seen that picture of like two oceans meeting. That's actually that's not from these two oceans meetings. That I believe is from the Amazon, and it's where salt water meets a fresh water, and that's where you get that effect where you can see like two sides of the water. There is no line in the ocean where the sea channels change color or look different in any way. There are, however, strong and dangerous swells, tides, and localized currents around the point and in the adjacent waters. These troubled seas have witnessed countless maritime disasters in the centuries since ships first sailed there. So just like you would experience with with how air pressure, you have cold air and warm air. When those meet, then you get like a typhoon or something like that. So similar thing happens in water. That's where you get, when you get the hot and the cold meeting, you're going to get dangerous currents, and the water is going to be kind of dangerous. Fishing is also good along the coast, but unpredictable swells make angling from the rocks very dangerous. Over the years, scores of fishermen have been swept to their deaths from the rocky platforms by freak waves. False Bay, which we're going to see, it's actually we'll see it when we get to the top on our left hand side. I'll point it out to you. Is the location of the naval point of Simonstown. And the bay, actually, False Bay used to be very famous for great white sharks. But what happened was that some orcas came into False Bay and they scared the great whites. Also, the great whites have left, but the seals are still there. Unfortunately, we have a problem with seals at the moment. A lot of the seals, we call them the Cape fur seals. If you've been on some of my previous tours, you may have seen them. There's been an outbreak of rabies with the seals, which we think went from dog to seal, and so it's a little bit dangerous. A couple of years ago, I went and I did. It's also on this channel. You can look for video. It's of diving with seals, which is an amazing experience, which you can do in Hout Bay, Cape Town. Now you can't do that anymore. Well, it's a little bit risky because of this outbreak of rabies that the seals have. So I'll talk a little bit more about False Bay when we get to the top. But I want to tell you some kind of interesting. I came across this in the research. So it's about icebergs. So Cape Point is the site of one of the global atmosphere watchers atmospheric research stations. We'll see it. It's quite close to the first lighthouse. And in the early years of the 20th century, icebergs from Antarctica were occasionally sighted from Cape Point. So isn't that amazing? Like there's only three or four countries that are close to Antarctica. You've got Australia, New Zealand, and then you've got South Africa, and then South America. You've got like Chile and Argentina, and that's it. And isn't it amazing that from Cape Town, back in the early days of the 20th century, you were able to see icebergs? For me, that sounds so crazy. But since the early 20th century, there have been no more authentic sightings of ice, which some climatologists and experts have attributed to global warming. So they melt before they get here. So here you can see. This is the curio shop. It's also where, if you take the binocular, you'll get out. Beautiful views all over here. Okay, so I was taking a little break, so I stopped the camera there. We'll go to the next section. So yeah, here's the Lighthouse Keeper's House, built in 1860. Built in conjunction with the adjacent Lighthouse Keeper's Cottage, this building served as the original office for the lighthouse keepers. More recently, it served the present lighthouse as a storeroom, and after being restored in 1996 to serve as an information office. So we're going to take our walk up now. There, you saw me for a second. There's the curio stall and the vernacular entrance. And we're going to... Now you see that car there is not... The vernacular was under maintenance when I came in August, and so there's the atmospheric station. So they were taking people up by car, but the vernacular is really beautiful. The Flying Dutchman is also, so the vernacular is called the Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman is also known as supposed to be like, there's a legend of this ghost ship and then that appears and disappears, and it's called the Flying Dutchman. So that's where they're getting the name from. Of course, Cape Town has, or South Africa has, both the Dutch and the English settling here has a history. So of course, the Cape Dutchman is one of those Dutch ships. Look at that. Oh, see, now you can get a better view of that beach down there. So we were walking up to the first lighthouse, not too far there, you can see it up there. And we'll get up there pretty soon. And everybody goes to this lighthouse and then sort of forgets about the other lighthouse. So I'm going to be taking you to the lighthouse not many people go to, because they see a sign where it says an hour and a half walk. But really, it's not an hour and a half. You'll see it's about 10 minutes. We'll do it really quickly. So on our right-hand side is False Bay. The reason why it's called False Bay is because if originally the sailors that arrived, oh, there it is again, thought they were coming into Table Bay, but they realized that they were mistaken, and so it was called False Bay. There it is. Beautiful, beautiful bay. And that entire area we were looking at is surrounded by land. So that's where we came from. You can see the car park down there. We've done a pretty good walk. And the views up here are spectacular. That's why we haven't got to the top, and I just want to stop and take cool views because it's just magnificent. There you can see on the left hand side Cape Point, and we're almost at the top. Now we're looking down at the beach. One of the other places we could have gone hiking down into the beach. Yes, Adrian's asked, says this can't be live, and you are correct, Adrian. There's no signal here, and so the only way I wanted to share it in April of last year, but it would have been impossible. So there's just no signal at this point of Cape Point. And one of the cool things they've got here is they've got, we'll see a little bit towards the end. That black that you can see in the water, that's kelp. It's like South African seaweed. And it grows from the ocean floor to the top. And if you scuba diving down in the at the bottom, it looks like underwater trees. So we're going to be walking to that point. That's the other lighthouse. And it's got, not many people go there. You can see there's a discoloration between the water that's close to the mountain and the one that's a little bit further off. And I don't know if you can see on the right-hand corner, there's like a white area. I believe that is there's like a rock or stone coming out of the water. There's the lighthouse. We're going to be walking to that point, all the way down there. Here you get a sense of just how high up we are, and then you can see why it's quite dangerous to be doing any fishing down there. You can see the swell. There's a lot of white from the swell. Now they're taking some of these down, unfortunately. There used to be a lot more of them, but here you can see New Delhi and London is 9,623 kilometers away. There used to be more. There was like Los Angeles. Here's New York. New York is 12,541 kilometers away from this point. So here you can see the path that we're going to walk shortly. And this is my little secret, I would say my little tip or secret for coming to Cape Point is don't just come to the lighthouse. If you've got the energy, come to this lighthouse, but go down to the other lighthouse. There you can see the atmospheric station. Beautiful. And don't be put off by the sign that says it's an hour and a half to walk. It is not an hour and a half to walk. So this area is actually one of the best places if you want fresh air in Cape Town. This is a great place. So here it says Lighthouse Keepers Trail, 1.5 hours or half an hour. It's you'll see now from this point on it's probably like a 6-minute fast walk. It won't take very long. Maybe like 10 minutes max. So now we're gonna go down this route and we can have even more spectacular views. And because not many people know about the second lighthouse or know how to get there, you're gonna have less people around. Yeah, when I was here, I sort of raced up to the top and then raced down to the bottom. When I came back, for some reason I can't remember what the reason was, but I needed to get somewhere else. And so I was quite tired. So I ran up this hill and then ran down here. And not ran down, but you'll see I go at quite a quick pace. So I felt a little bit tired when I got back to the car. So there's the lighthouse, and we're going to be taking this way down. Here you usually have the opportunity to see some smaller animals. If you've come with me to Table Mountain, you would have seen the rock hyrax or the dussy. It's actually a close relation to the elephant, but it's a very small creature. I won't say it looks like a rat, but it looks like a it looks like a furry little mammal, but little round mammal. Cindy says there are no fences. Yeah, there's just this little wooden fence between me and the cliff. So I don't recommend taking this path if you got vertigo. It is a little bit nerve-wracking. There you can see the path where those people are walking. Yeah, but so not many people come down this route. It's not really that well known. So I do recommend coming here. And if you want to get some of the best photos that I've taken in Cape Point have been from this walk. Not that I'm aware of. Neil asking if there have been any jumpers. No, not that I'm aware of. There's also a strategic blockhouse that we'll come up to. So that was, I think, during the World War. They built up a blockhouse to protect the Cape from any military invasion. Of course, Cape Town is so far from anything. It was never useful, but it's still there, and we'll walk past it as we make our way down to the second lighthouse. There you can see it in the distance there, that little block, that little square. There are a couple of them dotted around the Cape Peninsula. If anybody's been swimming in Cape Town, you'll know that the water looks beautiful, but it's actually very, very cold. This is on our right hand side is a great spot for photos. In fact, I stopped taking video here for a second because those two gentlemen ahead asked me if I could take a photo for them, which I did. So here's the Cape. There we go. So yeah, I just took a photo for them now. There was a transition. And there you can see everybody. That's where we were. It looks so far away. But really it's not a long walk. So when I came to Cape Point, I wanted to give everyone a little bit of something extra, something you're not going to see, and that's coming to the second lighthouse. It's not that well advertised, and so a really, really cool place to come, and you really get a great perspective of the other lighthouse as well. There it is. Look at that. Now, it's not going to take us very long to get to the second lighthouse. Here's the blockhouse I was talking about earlier. I'm always relieved that it's not as far as the sign says. It doesn't take an hour and a half or half an hour to get here. So just round this corner, we will be able to see the second lighthouse. Oof, that's really high. Yeah, so my tips for visiting Cape Point: come early, avoid the crowds. And if you want to really avoid the crowds, come and do this second lighthouse trail. As you can see, it's not very busy. Everybody comes to the first lighthouse and goes. I'll tell you what a lot of people like to do. There's a sign. I'm going to show it to you. A lot of people just come to take a picture in front of this sign. The Cape of Good Hope, the most southwestern point of the African continent. They come to the sign, they stand behind the sign and take a photo. That is a very popular place to visit, and you always find long lines of people coming to take photos of the sign. But if you want to do something that's not as busy but is super spectacular, my advice, and if you have the energy, come and do the second lighthouse. Really is worth the short walk. So you can see this yellow rock that we're walking past. That's the a Cape Town Table Mountain sandstone. You can find it all the way along all the mountains through Cape Town, all the way to, I think it just goes through along the whole peninsula, all the way to Malmesbury. I think that's how far the Table Mountain sandstone continues for. Malmesbury goes quite far out of Cape Town along the western coast. So if you've ever seen beautiful pictures of Table Mountain from the ocean, that's like in that area, the west coast. Dali is asking, what is the distance I've walked? I'm not sure. I need to check on Google. I can check the distance. I don't know if Google will tell me, but definitely a couple of kilometers. I mean, you can see the distance visually. Maybe like 2 kilometers. I'm just guessing. And here we are. But yeah, take the vernacular up. Would be my advice. You don't need to do any walking, and if you want to do this nice little flat hike, here we are at the end. I did this pretty quickly. I went up here pretty quickly, and there you can see it, the final lighthouse. Now, where those people are sitting, you're not actually supposed to be there, but people do just climb over the walls to get amazing photos. Yeah, so here there's the second lighthouse, built because of things like fog, and because not everyone could see the previous lighthouse because it was so high up, and different angles made it difficult to see, and also because of its height, people came too close to the lighthouse. So that second lighthouse was built perfectly right on the point of Cape Point, so it could be avoided. Accidents could be avoided. Yeah. Death. Neil says death by Instagram. Yeah, don't risk it, guys. Yeah, so that's Cape Point. I've been literally for a year. I've been wanting to share that with you. So thanks so much for joining live. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to join my Facebook group, I post a lot of extra information there. Thank you so much for joining, and buy me a coffee if you want to subscribe to that. I send an email out once every like 3 months to tell you what tours I'm going to do, and if you want to support the channel, you can do that on Buy Me a Coffee. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. If you want to ask me anything, I'll stay here for a minute or two, and yeah, I'm so glad I finally got to share that with you. Next week is going to be even more spectacular. We're going to something in South Africa called the Panorama Route, which is it's like this canyon, and it's just so spectacular. Yeah, it's just breathtaking. So I'm looking really forward to taking you to see those views. One of them is one of the viewpoints is called God's Window, so I'm excited to take you there. Cindy says, awesome views, and thanks for doing the walking. Pleasure. Great. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to share today. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you same time next week. Bye for now, and keep exploring, keep adventuring, and see you soon.